Hello and welcome to Nixies Notebooks. I'm your host and today is What is Wednesday, and we are going to talk about fussy cutting. That is a term that is used a lot by scrapbookers, and you'll probably also hear it in quilting as well. So what is fussy cutting? I'm going to actually link an article if you want to learn a little bit more about the fabric fussy cutting by Janet Wickwell. W-I-C-K-E-L-L. She wrote it, looks like she updated it on June 26, 2020. It was in the Spruce Crafts is the webpage. So I will make sure I provide a link to that at the bottom of my video, because this is where I got a lot of, this is how I learned about it, was through this article, and it was actually a pretty good article. So, all right, so fussy cutting is when quilters do quilts, they make squares. You usually want to cut your squares unless you're doing applique. That's a little different. That's something totally I don't know anything about. But usually you cut in squares. You don't want to cut on angles. It kind of messes the fabric up and stuff like that, I think. I'm not 100% sure on that. Please don't quote me on that. I dabbled only a little bit in quilting. So most of them cut squares. So usually what you see a square cut, and then a square cut, and then a square cut. Fussy cutting is taking the fabric and instead of just going through and cutting squares out, uniformly throughout the fabric, it is purposely pulling out pieces of the fabric or pieces of the highlighting pieces of the fabric in certain ways. This is actually a really good example. So if someone was fussy cutting, they would do a square right here maybe. And then they would maybe go over to here and do a square right here, or do a square from right here up here. So you're taking your main focal point, and you are instead of just cutting up the fabric and having it all kind of patchworky, you're taking a piece of the a drawing of the on the fabric, or a center focus on the fabric, and you're making that the center of the square, so it'll have a more dramatic effect on the actual quilt. So I hope that makes sense. So basically, instead of just cutting a square here and then cutting another square here where you get parts and pieces of everything, you'd cut right here. So this would be your fussy cut right here. You'd be like, okay, I want this in there. You might get parts of other, or you might cut off parts of this as well. Sorry, a little piece of paper. I have so much paper everywhere. That's what fussy cutting is. So you would take it and you'd make a focus or a focus point on a piece of fabric. Fussy cutting for paper is a little bit different. And what they mean by fussy cutting with paper is by cutting out the paper all around the edges, that sort of thing. So this would be considered a fussy cut. And I will show you how to do it. I did mark this page so I could find it quickly, so we didn't have to wait here. I'm not sure who that is. That's kind of a weird picture there. Alright, here we go. This is not the page I'm looking for. No, this is the page I'm looking for right here. Okay, so say I wanted to fussy cut out this plate and use it in something. So, you want to do is you obviously want to take the paper out, and then you're going to grab a pair of scissors, which I have right here. And then you're probably gonna want to cut around it first, like way around it. And then you're gonna want to go, sometimes you can use smaller scissors depending on, how delicate something is. You're just gonna go around the edges. It's actually really easy. This is what they mean by fussy cutting. You're kind of trying to cut off any lines or any excess stuff. I'm not very good at it, obviously. Just an FYI. So if you see some white and you're like, yeah, you missed some. Yeah, I know. It's awful. So this is basically what fussy cutting is. So when you see everyone talk about, I'm gonna fussy cut, it means they're gonna cut around it. They're gonna cut around the object itself. They're not going to make clean straight lines necessarily, but they're just going to fussy cut. They also talk about fussy cutting. When I take that back. So they also fussy cut straight lines, or you know, they'll be like, well, I'm gonna fussy cut it, and it means they're not gonna use a cutter, they're not gonna like really measure it out, they're just gonna cut with their scissors. You see how bad I am with scissors. I don't do this very often because I am really, really bad at it. I don't know why. It's awful. I'll have a straight line I could cut along and it'll be all over the place. There'll be like a circle there instead. It's awful. So anyways, but this is what fussy cutting is where you cut around an object to use, or you might be, say for example, I'm trying to give an example. I'm just going to use, so say for example, I glued this little piece down here and I was making a tab or something. I might just, and I glued it down, I might just fussy cut and go, okay, there we go. There's my tab. So that's also considered fussy cutting. So fussy cutting is pretty much using your scissors, kind of freehanding it, kind of really, you know, trying to make sure you cut it well and around the edges or around the object. So again, examples of fussy cut. There we go. And that's it. So pretty quick video. Just thought I'd let you guys know what that was. And if you have any questions, if you have any ideas, or you have heard a term in crafting videos and you want to know more about that term, please put a comment in the comment section below. I will read them and I will make a video for you. And if I can't figure out what it is, then I'll tell you that too. So, because sometimes if someone will say something, I'll be like, I don't know what that is. I have no clue. But anyways, thank you. Have a good day. And I'll see you in the next video. Like and subscribe.